Dynamax Eevee will be making its Pokémon GO debut this weekend in Max Battles, but in my opinion, there are only about 3 or 4 Eeveelutions that are worth going after as Dynamax Pokémon. Let's get straight into those details. As always, let's get time and date out of the way, guys. Dynamax Eevee Max Battle Weekend will be taking place starting actually on this Friday, November 21st, and it's going to be at 6 a.m. running all the way until Monday the 24th at 9 p.m. So a total of 4 days, which means it's time to talk about our new Dynamax Pokemon, D-Max Eevee. Dynamax Eevee is a normal type Pokemon originally coming from the Kanto region and Generation 1. I was really hoping that D-Max Eevee will be making its debut in 1-star max battles, but it's going to be in 2-star max battles, which means it's going to cost 400 max particles to join one of these max battles. Very disappointing in my opinion. Shiny Dynamax Eevee will also be available during this event. However, we don't know the shiny rates. I think it's going to be at least 1 in 20 though, if not 1 in 64. The bonuses of this event purely surround max battles. So the first bonus is that it's going to be half adventuring distance to receive max particles. So normally you would have to walk 2 kilometers to get 300 particles. Now you're only going to have to walk 1 kilometer. Power spots are going to refresh more frequently, about every 30 minutes. And we're also going to be able to collect 2 times max particles from power spots. This is something I was going to slot in at the end, but this is a pro tip to really help you guys do as many free Eevee battles as possible. The first thing I want you to do is to go into the event from Thursday night having 1600 max particles in your bag. This will allow you, as the event starts, to do 4 free Eevee battles. That day you will also be able to collect another 800 max particles from either walking, or you can collect it from power spots, which will allow you to do another 2, because remember, it takes 400 max particles to do an Eevee raid, so that gives us a total of 6 on the first day. Then on the Saturday, Sunday, as well as Monday, you can collect 800 max particles, because that is the max collection limit per day, which will then take us to 12 free max Eevee battles. And if you want to take that even more, if you walk the distance, because you only have to walk 1 kilometer per 300, you could try and walk as much as you can as well per day to try and collect those max particles coming from walking, which means you would be able to do an extra few more doing those free raids. This is going to be highly important, because you're going to have to utilize all 4 of the days really if you really want to try and max out your results without spending money. Just before we move on from these bonuses, remember that at the start of this Eevee event, the first 2 days are going to be included in the high voltage event. The main bonuses of the high voltage event are going to be 2 times XP for throwing nice throws or better, on top of the fact that it's going to be 2 times Stardust for catching Pokemon, and there will be shiny boosts for Togedemaru, Emolga, and Dedenne. There will be a live collection challenge for all trainers. We're going to have to catch Eevee and evolve them for the following rewards, which is going to be Eevee Candy, Max Particles, and a Poffin. There is a particularly good use for this Poffin that we can utilize during this event, but we'll get there at the end. It looks like spawning in the wild. We're also going to have Eevee, which is going to be coming in the wild. Remember, Eevee can also be shiny, so it's a great opportunity to try and get the candy. If you haven't played these calm days, or if you don't have Eevee Candy, there's a great opportunity to try and get the candy in the wild, so you don't just have to rely on the max battles. We might as well mention this: if you're trying to do as many max Eevee battles as possible, try and get this ticket from the web store, which is going to be a total cost of $10. The deal is going to include 1 max mushroom, but 7 particle packs to really help you maximize those max particles when entering Eevee battles. Could be worth it. If you are a newer player, or you're just getting used to Pokemon GO, there are 8 different Eeveelutions that can come from Eevee. They are going to be Flareon the fire type, Vaporeon the water type, Jolteon the electric type, Espeon the psychic type, Umbreon the dark type, Leafeon the grass type, as well as Glaceon, which is going to be the ice type Eeveelution. However, these Eeveelutions work a little bit differently in Pokemon GO, so let's focus on the first 3. Unfortunately, it is randomized. When you use 25 candy, you will see the silhouette has a question mark. When the silhouette has a question mark, it means it can only evolve into one of 3 different Pokemon, which is going to be Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon. However, if you want to get Espeon or Umbreon in the game, you're going to have to set that particular Eevee as your buddy and walk 10 kilometers, which is pretty much going to up its friendship with you, which you would have to do in the main series games. And you would have to evolve Eevee with 25 candy during the day to get Espeon, and you will see the silhouette arrive there. And during nighttime, after 6 o'clock, I believe, Umbreon will be able to be evolved from that Eevee, which was your buddy. If you guys are interested in getting Leafeon or Glaceon, Sylveon, you're going to have to evolve your Eevee around a Mossy Lure module to get Leafeon, and around a Glacial Lure module to get Glaceon. Now, to get Sylveon in the game is a little bit more difficult. Pretty much you're going to have to set that Eevee as your buddy, but you're going to have to accumulate 70 buddy hearts in order for it to get into that Sylveon, which is not the easiest thing to do. This is where that free Poffin comes in from the collection challenge. Guys, if you throw a Poffin on your buddy, it means it's going to be able to collect double the hearts that you would normally do for the specific activities. This is really going to speed up the process for you if you're trying to get that max Sylveon. However, this is another big pro tip not a lot of people will be thinking about. If you guys want your legacy moves on the certain Eeveelutions, do not forget about the December Community Day on the 6th and 7th, which will allow each Eeveelution, once they evolve, to get their legacy moves. If you guys weren't aware, you can get certain Eeveelutions by nicknaming the Pokemon a certain name. So for example, if you really wanted to guarantee a Vaporeon evolution, you would nickname the Eevee Rainer. To get Jolteon, you would name it Sparky. For Flareon, it would be Pyro. For Espeon, it would be Sakura. For Umbreon, it would be Tamao. For Leafeon, it would be Lini. For Glaceon, it would be Ree. And for Sylveon, it would be Kira. Now is time for the heartbeat of this video. And remember, Dynamax Eevee is actually going to be more relevant than Gigantamax Eevee, which is of course going to be coming to the game very soon. The reason why Gigantamax Eevee is not going to be that valuable is that one, it is a normal type, which isn't going to do huge damage for us, but secondly, as much as it will have its own Gmax move, unfortunately, this Gmax Eevee will not be able to evolve, which is hugely going to impact this, which is actually why this weekend is going to be a lot better than that weekend whenever it does come around, because we can actually get Dynamax forms of all of the Eeveelutions. Now we've reached the part where you guys are all here. What are going to be the best Dynamax Eeveelutions to use and to go after during this event? Undoubtedly, the best Eeveelution Dynamax Pokemon is going to be kicking off with Espeon. As a Psychic type attacker, its attack stat is actually really high because it does transfer from the old base games with a really good special attack stat. But as a Psychic type Dynamax attacker, it's actually going to be in some of the upper echelons of what we have right now, to be honest, so it's a really good pick. Then coming in next is going to be Dynamax Flareon, definitely going to be one of our better Dynamax Pokemon as well. Again, just simply because of its high attack stat, it's going to really hit hard alongside things like Dynamax Darmanitan, Dynamax Cinderace. Then I would say this is probably going to be in your best tier, and the rest are probably going to be a little bit under, but Glaceon in the Ice type category is going to be one of your better Ice type Dynamax attacking Pokemon. I would say those are probably going to be your top three. However, if you're looking for a fourth, Jolteon in the Electric type category can serve you pretty well, but overall, those are probably going to be your top 3 or 4 from an attacking point of view. And number 5, I know I did say 4, is actually going to be Vaporeon, simply because of its defense, but more particularly its HP stat. DMAX Vaporeon is going to be an outstanding healer in the game because it's so blubbery, it's very bulky, it can take a lot of hits, and depending on what's in front of us, it could be a really good option, especially as a budget option if you don't have anything better. These for me are going to be your top 5. If you guys want a quick counter guide to help you run through this, remember Eevee is a normal type Pokemon, which means it's going to take increased damage from fighting type attacks specifically. So definitely use your Gmax Machamp, and once you defeat Dynamax Eevee, you will get an encounter with the DMAX Eevee, and that 100% IV is going to be 612 CP, so try and remember that or screenshot it if you want to remember it. And a big tip that you can never forget about, because we really want to try and get the candy as well as XL candy, is to Mega Evolve a Mega Level 3 normal type Pokemon to really maximize your chances of every single Eevee you catch. On top of every Eevee you catch in the wild, you're just going to be accumulating all that candy and XL candy so you can power up any of these Eevees you want to level 40 or 50. And last but not least, remember every single one of these 2-star raids is going to grant you 6,000 XP per raid. On a lucky egg, you will be able to get 12,000 XP. I would strongly suggest, if you do follow our tip of doing 6 or 7 Eevees in the first day, I would strongly recommend popping a lucky egg, because you will be able to blow through these pretty quickly. If you're playing in a nice condensed space, guys, we're talking potentially about 100k in literally half an hour, which I think is free cash, along with the 2x catch Stardust. Guys, if you want to check out everything going on in Pokemon Go this week, please check it as our end screen. And if you guys are managing to watch this toward the weekend, we're also going to be covering that Final Justice event, which is going to be revealing the Resolute form Keldeo. We've got a lot coming your way. Appreciate you guys. Go with us, and we'll catch you in the next one, baby.